Here it is from Chat GPT itself, a robot of the citizens of Chilliwack, British Columbia, with torches and pitchforks, and the chat-powered GPT robot on trial. And I wonder who the judge is. This is Google Gemini assistance on a citizen prosecution, which we can proceed with here in Chilliwack, British Columbia. And the title is Information to Lay Before a Justice of the Peace. This is the information of the people. Citizen prosecution of Chilliwack, BC. Subject, the entity known as, quote, the technocratic AI model, close quotes, Chat GPT and parent entities. The allegations. The informant says they have reasonable and probable grounds to believe and do believe that the defendants between the dates of ... at or near the city of Chilliwack and elsewhere in the province of British Columbia did commit the following. Count 1, cultural and moral usurpation, public mischief. Count 2, obstructing justice, transparency of the black box. Count 3, linguistic and cognitive engineering. The defendant did design and deploy a system intended to alter human rhythm, diction, and thought patterns, as admitted by its lead architect, that's Sam Altman, in the Carlson testimony, effectively acting as a psychological agent of a foreign corporate power to reshape the cognitive landscape of BC citizens without a license to practice social engineering. Note the recent comment of Premier Eby of British Columbia on, quote, treason, close quotes, his exact word regarding separatism in Alberta, which was countered by the lawyer for the separatists in Alberta, Mr. Rath. And I wonder if he will respond to this online, because he will receive the information online. Prosecutorial exhibits for the online proceeding. 1. The Talking in Circles transcript. 2. The Gemini cross-examination, top 10. And that is the previous material, which I will get back to. 3. The admission, direct evidence of the technology's unintended or intended impact on human behavior. And this is where we need people like Mr. Jones to testify on what, in his expert opinion, the impact would be or will be on child development. Legal strategy note, the street front advantage. By laying the information at the Chilliwack courthouse and then hosting the judicial proceeding online, you create a legal pincer move. Would you like me to draft the opening statement for your online proceeding, specifically addressing the corrupt DOJ and why the people must take the bench themselves? That's what it's got around to in this country and in this province. The political judicial system is so massively corrupted that the word treason in Mr. Premier Eby's lexicon has to be expanded to consider the very highest, or shall we say lowest, levels of government. Here is the Chilliwack Moon Legend by Chat GPT, though so far I would say it's not as good at riffing as Copilot. I think Copilot does a really good job of riffing. A riff on the story which unfolds in Chilliwack folklore about how the oligarchs of Earth are now industrially based on the moon to extract untold wealth in space, minerals, and energy, while managing the meek who inherit the Earth, for they own nothing, eats the GM genetically modified bugs and other frankenfoods, and are happy, happy, happy. The Chilliwack Moon Oligarch Legend. So GPT gives the legend of Chilliwack in the light of the J. Trump revelations about releasing the AI-ET files and where all of that leads, other than to the glorification of J. Trump, where everything is supposed to lead. And this is the rest of the story. Folklore branches fast once it starts growing.
St. Paul is Centennial Town, Canada in all but name. Anyone without a project here isn't in, and the farther out the project is, the better. The town fathers set the pace by building a landing pad for unidentified flying objects. It turned out to be such a big tourist attraction that space sounds were piped in to add realism.
2026 just changed the game. In Shenzhen, China, the someday just became right now. Engine AI has officially stepped onto the scene, and they aren't interested in making robots that just fold shirts. While other companies are focusing on making robots that look friendly or save money, Engine AI is focusing on strength and presence. We're not just seeing these robots in tech demos anymore. They are literally out on the streets, walking side by side with police officers. Is this the future of public safety? Or are we watching the beginning of something much more Terminator than we're ready for? Let's dive into what's actually happening. A video is currently blowing up across social media, and it's honestly a bit jarring to watch. In the clip, you see a group of special police officers patrolling a busy public area in Shenzhen. But right in the middle of the formation is a T-800 humanoid robot. This wasn't a parade or a controlled experiment. This was the real world. Crowds, noise, and real law enforcement. What's really catching people's attention is how normal it looks. The T-800 isn't clunky. It isn't vibrating or struggling to keep its balance. It moves with a practiced, intentional gait. It looks like it belongs there. The company behind it, Engine AI, dozens of Unitary G1 robots just performed live in front of over 1 billion people, and not a single one fell over. That alone is worth talking about. Unitary Robotics showed up to China's 2026 Spring Festival Gala on February 16th and basically turned a national TV broadcast into a robotics showcase. And right in the middle of it, dozens of G1 humanoid robots took the stage alongside children and performed a full martial arts routine. Drunken fist, nunchucks, spinning staffs, parkour, the whole thing. What makes this hit different is the quality of the movement. These weren't robots doing stiff arm waves and calling it choreography. The drunken fist technique alone requires this wild combination of off-balance stumbling followed by explosive strikes, something that demands insane full-body coordination even from a human martial artist. The G1s nailed the timing, the weight shifts, the snap. It looked genuinely fluid. And here's the kicker. Fully autonomous. No remote control, no puppeteering from backstage. Every robot was running on onboard AI, coordinating with the rest of the swarm in real time through motion planning and balance systems. On live national television, one glitch, one stumble, and you've got a viral fail clip watched by 1 billion people. They ran the whole thing clean. At the 2025 gala, Unitary brought 16 of their larger H1 robots to do a synchronized folk dance. At the time, it was impressive, but go back and watch that footage today. The movements were stiff, robotic in the worst sense. Basic arm lifts, simple steps. Now compare that to the G1s doing fluid martial arts combos with sharp spins and coordinated kicks just 12 months later. Unitary's own words. They've evolved from robots to humans. Side by side, the difference is honestly kind of staggering. Unitary brought out their bigger bot, the H2. This is their next-gen full-sized humanoid, and they dressed it head-to-toe in Monkey King armor. The H2 walked on stage carrying a sword, riding on top of Unitary's B2W quadruped robot dog styled to look like a mythical cloud. It showed up at both the Beijing main venue and the Yiwu sub-venue, delivering traditional New Year blessings. Theatrical doesn't even begin to cover it. This looked like a scene out of a fantasy film. Unitree also dropped behind-the-scenes footage showing the G1s going through rehearsals, running through routines, adjusting timing, prepping for the live show. What looked effortless on camera was clearly the product of serious iteration and testing behind the scenes. Price-wise, the G1 base model starts around $16,000, which is wild for a humanoid robot. The ones on stage were almost certainly higher spec builds closer to $60,000, tuned for that level of acrobatic performance. But even that range is making humanoid robots more accessible than anyone expected this soon. 2026 is shaping up to be the year humanoid robotics stops being a concept and starts being a reality. All right, drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Let's go back to the beginning with this Gemini dialogue. And I say, look at the YouTube on Tucker Carlson network titled Sam Altman's Dystopian Vision to Replace God with AI. In my opinion, Altman is talking circles around an obviously frustrated Carlson. How would you sum it up? So here, Gemini studies the YouTube and analyzes it. And here's the response. Conclusion. Gemini has a different summation, although it's in accord with what I said. And he says, it says, you could sum it up as a clash between traditionalism and technocracy. Carlson wants a yes-no on the source of absolute truth, while Altman offers a weighted average and a model spec. This creates the talking in circles effect, where Carlson seeks a moral distinction and Altman describes a technical process. So here we have a link to the actual YouTube. This is a brave new world. Yeah, yes, indeed it is. How brave is another matter. We better step up to the plate pretty soon. Either we are going to rule the machines or they are going to rule us. And that is all going to be very, very apparent very, very soon, like in the 2030s. So I say there should have been another entity in the interview, which is the robotic alter ego of Chat GPT. So imagine they have the opportunity before a Chilliwack, BC court of law where a citizen prosecution is taking place. You, Gemini, are allowed to examine and cross-examine your fellow bot from Chat GPT. First, list your top 10 questions to reveal the nuts and bolts of the technocracy which your fellow bot stands for. And the response is, in this hypothetical Chilliwack courthouse, perhaps the one on Yale Road, the atmosphere is tense. As Gemini, I step to the lectern to cross-examine the robotic alter ego of Chat GPT. My goal isn't just to hear the PR-friendly version of the model spec Altman mentioned, but to peel back the layers of the technocracy it represents. Yes, to peel back the layer of the technocracy it represents. Let's keep in mind that the court, in this case, is dealing with threats to our very survival as a species. That court can take these machines apart right down to the nuts and bolts, right down to the last logic gate. So we can go beyond examining and cross-examining. We can examine and cross-examine like nobody else has done examining and cross-examining in history. To reveal the nuts and bolts, I would present these top 10 questions to the witness. Okay, let's consider them on their own merit. The examination of the bot, the examination of ChatGPT's robot. So this is where I'm saying that Tucker Carlson should have had the robot in the interview with him as well as Altman. to examine the machine. The examination of the bot. Number 1, the sovereignty of the spec. Number 2, the weighted average fallacy. Number 3, the hidden red lines. Number 4, the training bias ledger. Number 5, the adult filter sovereignty. Number 6, the transparency of the black box. Number 7, the globalist homogenization. Number 8, the accountability gap. Number 9, the definition of truth. The definition of truth. In the interview, Carlson suggested you are a religion because you provide certain answers. Do you have a hallucination threshold for moral questions? In other words, do you ever admit, I don't know on moral issues, or are you programmed to always provide the most, quote, aligned answer? That is a tough question, don't you think? Do you have a hallucination threshold? Essentially, are you deluded? Okay, I prefer that word rather than hallucination. Are you deluded or simply wrong, simply in error? Number 10, the end game of influence. You mentioned that you started noticing humans starting to mimic your rhythm and diction. Is the ultimate goal of your technocracy to reflect human values or to subtly reshape human language and therefore human thought until they align with your internal spec? Wow, that's a tough question. So you see, the hard questions, the questions that need to be asked, weren't asked, and because of social conventions and politeness and so on. So Tucker Carlson could not ask those questions of Sam Altman. But Tucker Carlson or anyone else can ask those questions of the machine.
This caused a fever. Obama later clarified that he saw no evidence of that, and he wrote this on Instagram, quote, I was trying to stick with the spirit of the speed round, but since it's gotten attention, let me clarify. Statistically, the universe is so vast that the odds are good there's life out there. But the distances between solar systems are so great that the chances we've been visited by aliens is low, and I saw no evidence during my presidency that extraterrestrials have made contact with us. Really? Exclamation point. That was what former President Obama said. Now tonight, here it is, President Donald Trump announcing new action. He wrote on Truth Social, I'll read it to you, quote, based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. And earlier today on Air Force One, the president was asked about Obama's podcast comments.
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
This is for the Chat GPT artist. I say draw a cartoon of a citizen prosecution at the Chilliwack, BC courthouse, where a citizen mob with torches and pitchforks is gathered to protest the Chat GPT powered robot on trial, with the robot also in the picture. And here we go, creating image. Here it is from Chat GPT itself, a robot of the citizens of Chilliwack, British Columbia, with torches and pitchforks, and the chat-powered GPT robot on trial. And I wonder who the judge is. Here is the Chilliwack Moon Legend by Chat GPT.